Peter and Sarah, thanks for coming in for your recommendations today. You've done well for yourselves, and my job is to simply help you maximize your wealth. I've broken down your recommendations into 4 categories. First of all, reducing costs. This will free up cash flow for you and allow you to save more for your future, pay down your debt, and invest more money for your future. And the big one is to refinance your house. Interest rates are low. I think you should refinance a 15-year mortgage. This will save you almost $300 a month and $50,000 in interest over the life of the loan. The 15-year matches up pretty well with your goal of wanting to retire at age 62. Second of all is to get rid of the credit card debt. If you have to, you can get a HELOC loan. Interest rates are much lower than your credit card, 5-6% cheaper than the credit card. Whatever we can do to pay that off as soon as possible to save you a lot of interest there. Third, saving costs is to sell that antique car. It's difficult to get car insurance for the antique car. The value is very high, and it's appreciated very well for you. If you sell it, you're looking at about $13,500 in capital gains and about $111,000 that would be freed up for investments or to pay down that debt again. The second category is to reduce risk. Peter's obviously been the risk taker in the family. I think we should get a more balanced approach, shooting for more of a 70-30 mix of stocks and bonds, diversifying those stocks into more conservative stocks, different asset classes, bonds, precious metals like you've done, etc. I think would help ease the volatility in your portfolio, gain you more consistency, and you really won't give up much return over such a long period of time. The second is to establish a $1 million umbrella policy. This will protect your personal assets as well as potential income in the future for you. Litigation is very expensive. It's only a few $100s to establish this policy. Your IRA and 401ks are protected. Your house has a homestead on it, but your personal after-tax assets and personal effects are susceptible. In talking about your investments, I think you should maximize your 401k. This is a pre-tax investment. It would only be about $6,500 additionally after tax out of pocket that you would be sacrificing for your future. You're in a high enough tax bracket right now that it makes a lot of sense to save yourself on a pre-tax basis and maximize those contributions. If you have to, I would even consider backing off of the after-tax IRA contributions to make the pre-tax contributions to the 401ks. It's about $4,000 a year. That would mostly make up for the difference in after-tax investments for you right there. Selling the zero coupon bond that's at a low interest rate right now, get into more high yield bonds or even emerging market local currency bonds. Greater diversity, higher yields will help you maximize, get you to that 8% return that you're shooting for. Considering setting up a 529 for Frank, talking to the Henderson grandparents about contributing to the 529s. Don is about to start. They can make $130,000 contributions for each of the grandkids right now. That's $65,000 per person per child, so $130,000 total would certainly cover any college costs, and the 529 would grow tax-free for you, so there wouldn't be any additional tax filings, and it also would get it out of the Henderson grandparents' estate and have a 5-year vesting schedule to accomplish that. I think you should strive for keeping the cabin if it can generate $12,000 net income to you. That's an 8% return on investment based on the current value. This would again match up with your long-term goal, and you can also itemize this on Schedule E as long as you don't use it personally for more than 14 days per year. And lastly, talking to an attorney, there's several big issues. One is establishing a special needs trust for Gregory. The Henderson grandparents could be the trustees. I would set up a corporate trustee for a successor trustee in this case because of the long-term need for Gregory. And this could be funded with a second to die life insurance policy, which would be about $6,000 a year. We have some freed up cash flow from other places, and this would be a huge relief to not only your estate, but to make sure that Gregory's taken care of. And otherwise, a great deal of the estate would probably go to his needs over time. This trust will also allow Gregory access to government assistance and aid over the years, and the trust would continue on to help pay for products or services that he might need, and still he would have access to all the government assistance. Basically, the trustee would purchase things directly for Gregory, and that's how he can still gain aid from the government. Also, I think your will needs to be updated. You have enough assets and a difficult situation here that I think you should establish a more complex will, AB trust, for continuance and privacy, as well as some super protection for your assets down the road. Living will is necessary to give that advance directive. Neither one of you want to be on life support in the future. This can accomplish that for you. Durable power of attorney for each other in case of legal incapacity on either side, and a durable power of attorney for health care to assign each other as agent in fact to make medical decisions if needed down the road. In talking about your life insurance, you have quite a bit, but I looked at the situation. I think that Peter should have $1 million 15-year term to match up with his retirement goal. This would cost about $1,200 a year. You can consider canceling the existing term that matures in 3 years anyways. $600 a year is going for that. And also the whole life policy. Consider doing a 1035 exchange of the cash value. That's a pretty expensive life insurance right now. We're doing the second to die for Gregory and replacing the terms. But that would free up $2,500 in cash flow for you. The tax deferred annuity would have $20,000 go to investments, growing tax deferred, and a cost basis of $25,000. So the first 25% growth in that annuity would be without tax, essentially tax free. Sarah should replace her term again with a 15-year term. The cost would be relatively the same if she invested in started a $300,000 term policy. Face value, the 15 years again matches up with the retirement goal, accumulation goals, and that could go towards taking care of Gregory while Peter still works. Lastly, check into a long-term care policy. You're both young and healthy right now. That's the time to establish these things as you approach 50 years old. This is the best time, optimal time before anything health-wise shows up on screens. The long-term care would cover any big picture assisted living, etc. needs, and minimal plan would only be roughly $2,000 per year. That's it for the summary. We're going to get into some more recommendations.